This car just landed from Japan. It is one that I've been anticipating for years. I've been telling my wife about this thing for, I don't know, 8 years now since we've been married. This is my JDM Integra Type Rx. It's one of the rarest spec Integras that's ever been built. So over this time, I'm going to show you my journey with this car. We're going to talk about the things that I plan to do. I'll go over how it's currently sitting, the shape that it's in, the things that have happened to it while it's in Japan, and you'll get to join me on my journey through building this car and making it as OEM as possible. Now, I said OEM as possible, and that's because I'm more of one of those OEM plus guys. I don't like a car that is completely bone stock, but I also want something that is pretty true to form, something that is very close how the original creators intended it. And so things like wheels, maybe suspension a little bit lower, some nice things, maybe even a nicer front lip, just things that make it a little bit nicer without going too crazy. Now, I say that, but I've been known to go a little crazy. So we'll see what happens over the next year or so. But my goal is to make this thing as nice, as original and true to form as possible and get it back to that original shine and make it look like it was fresh from the factory. Now, you might be thinking, Jimmy, why are you so excited about this 2000 Integra, or what did you call it, the Type RX? Well, I'm going to show you that in just a second and why the Type RX is special to me. But just to name a few things, the Type RX came from the factory with basically every option that the dealership offered, including things like metal pedals. It also came with factory tinted windows in the back. Some additional things is the power folding mirrors. A lot of them came with it, but that came with all the Type RX. Also, another thing that's kind of unique to this is it has blue tinted interior parts. So the faux carbon fiber look, it has a bluish tint to it. We'll look at that in just a second. On top of that, it does come with things like keyless entry. Pretty cool. Nothing that is what I would consider groundbreaking. The performance is very similar. So, you know, it's got about that same amount of go as the other Type Rs. But this one is just a little bit different, higher spec. It's the last year that they made it. And to me, that was really important. And it's something that I think is a little extra special, which is something I wanted in my car. As you can see, this Type RX does have some cosmetic flaws. So the first thing that you'll see is this fender is severely peeling. We're gonna have to go ahead and get that stripped down and repainted soon. Also, things that are pretty standard, like the headlights being fogged up and looking yellow. Unfortunately, that's pretty common, and we'll have to deal with that. Some other things, if you look at this lip, it's a little chewed up. And honestly, I think the person that had this car before me put coilovers on it. It's sitting a little bit lower. Not a big deal, but we'll fix that lip up and get it repainted with the fender. Some other things that we have going on, things like rust on the wheels. We'll get that cleaned up. That's not going to be a big issue. But other than that, this is all pretty standard, typical problems. One thing that I really like about this car, a reason that I got it, was it's never been in a wreck. So no wrecks is a big deal. Did I say in a wreck? I don't know what that means. I think y'all do. Some other things about it is it doesn't have any major body damage. I think I saw one ding on the roof. Not a big deal. We'll get that fixed up. I got a little PDR kit. We'll do a video on it. It does have a Mugen's twin loop exhaust, which is pretty cool. This is actually the first time I've been able to hear one of those in person. And let me tell you, it sounds gangsta. Looking into the interior, this is where we get to talk a little bit about some of the specialties. So, you know, the things I was mentioning that are special to the Type RX, most of that is just on the inside. So one of the first things you'll see is this bluish hue on the faux carbon fiber. Pretty neat stuff. Nothing earth shattering, right? You know, the other Type Rs all came with some carbon fiber, but this one just has a slightly different tint to it. You'll notice that it came with metal brake pedals. I believe those were optional before, but all the Type RXs come with that. Another thing, if you see here, I can't remember the name of the brand, it does come with this foot pedal extender sitting on top of the stock pedal. I don't know. I may or may not pull that off. We'll see. Another cool thing is it comes with the Momo steering wheel. Unfortunately, this thing looks like a hot mess. Peeling. I don't know. It's been sitting in the sun too long. Looks like some 60-year-old lady that's been sunbathing for far too long. You know, stuff happens. I did have to throw a shift knob on it. I put my FK8 shift knob just so that I can get the car moving, do some stuff with it. We'll go to hybrid racing and get some goodies for this a little bit later, and that'll be one of the things that we fix. Overall, these seats are in really good condition outside of just having normal dirt spots on it, all of which will come up pretty easy, but there's no major tears. They're not faded to all else. That's good too. All right, now looking at the engine bay. Pretty standard stuff. Obviously, nothing groundbreaking over here. It does have this pretty neat little top fuel cold air intake. JDM goodies, right? Pretty cool just for the JDM factor, so I'll keep that. You will notice, for the most part, it's all pretty clean. There is some minor rusting in some spots. Nothing crazy. One reason I really like this vehicle and picked this one out when importing was there's very, very little rust on it. Underneath the car, there's a little bit of rust. Definitely surface rust. I want to say, if you look right there, you can see a little bit as well. Maybe a little bit right there. So nothing crazy. Very standard. One of the problems with these cars are the ones in Japan are notorious for having tons of rust on them. As a matter of fact, the majority of the ones I looked at had significantly more rust than this. And so this ended up being one of the better ones, which is why I'm excited to have it. Now looking in the rear trunk, do they call this the boot of the car? I'm trying to remember, I don't remember. One of the cool things is I mentioned that this tent is factory tent. It came that way from Honda. And so it's not a film. The actual glass is smoked, and the 2000 is the only one that came that way. Because of that, if you notice and you look at this top seat, it is not faded. The majority of these Type Rs, they have purple seats, which sucks, and there's not a lot you can do about it without getting them re-dyed. But this one is pretty good. It seems like most of the 2000s do pretty good with the fading on that back seat, probably because the window's tinted. Definitely because the window's tinted. Now, one more thing that makes this car different is that it came with the keyless entry. Now, the one I bought, or when I got this car, I realized this one has an aftermarket alarm system. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't feel like I need it personally, but it has it, and I guess that's kind of cool. But one of the things that you'll see right here is that it has this additional little piece right here on the door handle. That is for the keyless entry, and so that's one thing that's kind of different. Most Type Rs do not have that piece. Obviously, this one does because it's a 2000. All right, so that's my 2000 Integra Type Rx. Pretty much a rundown of the car. Obviously, great condition for a 25-year-old car, and especially one that's come over recently on a container. I haven't even washed this thing yet. So you'll notice a lot of the writing on the car and all that, it's in Japanese. That's because that's what it was on there right before it got shipped out to the US. And I picked it up that way. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to continue to make content as we clean up and restore this thing, get it looking as factory as possible. You can see there's powder coating that needs to happen. There's cleaning. There's mold on the rubber that goes around the rear quarter windows. All this stuff needs to get clean. We're going to get this car restored and back to brand new, off the showroom floor quality. Please join me if you like this content. Follow, subscribe, and leave a comment because I'd love to hear from you.